Hey, what's up, everyone? Back for this Thursday slate. We got 9 games to talk about for today. Yesterday seems like all the high implied total teams failed, with the Red Sox failed, the Astros failed hard, the Dodgers didn't do much, only 2 runs for them. Definitely a weird slate. Hopefully things go back to normal today. So let's jump right into this one. You can drop a like and subscribe down below. Starting off at pitcher, as always, we have 2 of the best pitchers in baseball on the mound today with Gerrit Cole and Scherzer. Gerrit Cole's matchup is much better than Scherzer's matchup, strikeout-wise, but Max Scherzer can still strike at anybody and have a huge game. Before he got hurt, he was pitching gem after gem. So I think he's a great play in tournaments, especially if he's not getting that much ownership. But I think Gerrit Cole is definitely the safer option, or not the safer option, but definitely is a cash game play here at $12,000, given the high strikeout rate for the Tigers, given how good Gerrit Cole's been all season, given how Verlander pitched well against them, even though he lost the game, he only gave up a couple hits, went very deep into the game, and Gerrit Cole can do the same. This Tigers team doesn't really walk a lot, they don't run deep counts. Should be another 7-8 inning performance for Gerrit Cole, maybe even 9 innings if he's pitching really well. At $12,000 for Gerrit Cole, you can definitely fit him in with some of the value we have on the slate. And then as an SP2, you can look at, I think Maeda is a fine play at 8,100. If you play Maeda, you're left with 37, 38 for your hitters. It's not terrible. It's not a ton, especially if you want to fit in some of the, if you want to play the Dodgers again. I think the Dodgers and Astros will probably bounce back. So if you want to get some of them in, you're probably going to have to go cheaper with your SP2. And the guy I'm looking at is probably going to be $6,200 for Aaron Civali at this price tag. It's pretty appealing. He's been pitching well since he's been called up. All 4 starts he's pitched well, even though the last 2 were in really tough matchups against the Yankees and against the Twins. Against the Twins, he put up 19, which is really solid. Against the Yankees, just put up 11.5. But here now he's going into Citi Field. It's a great park to pitch in. The Mets they're a decent offense, but you can still have your way with them if you're pitching well and if you have your command and stuff. $6,200 for Civali's a really good price tag. He has some strikeout upside. Like I said, the Mets have been on a roll kind of as of late, but it's still not a great park to hit in. And Civali just has some good stuff and has some good prospect pedigree. I like him at this price tag. Allows you to fit in a little more hitters than Tanaka does. So those are the 2 guys that I like. Starting off here at second base. At second base, I like Nick Solak. Solak is just $3,600. Really nice price tag for him. He was mashing in AAA before he got called up, facing off against a lefty here and Ross Detweiler, who is not a good pitcher at all. Doesn't strike you out. Gives up contact, gives up hard contact, gives up power. Solak had 27 bombs in 114 games and was hitting .291 before he got called up. And so far, he's hit really well in the big leagues with he had 2 doubles yesterday, had a home run the day before. Lots of power with him. It's still a good park to hit in Chicago. It seems like a nice value second baseman here on the slate. Next up, at third base, or shortstop, I like Didi Gregorius. He's only $44,000, nicely priced here. You really like to pick on Roark against lefties, and Didi has good numbers against Roark with a couple home runs off of him. Roark just can't really get lefties out at a high clip. He gives up a lot of power to lefties. Didi Gregorius hitting right in the middle of the lineup. Definitely has power and has been swinging the bat a lot better as of late. Roark has given up a .311 average and a .515 slugging percentage to lefties this year. They have a 5.9 xFIP against him. So you got to like Didi Gregorius here, given his numbers for his career against righties and given his numbers against Roark in a small sample. Against righties this year, he's batting .292 with 8 home runs. And he has a great 208 ISO, so lots of power. And he does hit the ball in the air with a 44% fly ball rate. I like Didi a lot at this price tag. In the outfields, we're going to go with Eli Jimenez at 4,300. I like this game a little bit. You got some nice prices on both sides. I like Jimenez at 4,300. He has lots of power, especially against right-handed pitching. Juardo not a big-time strikeout pitcher. Usually gives up, puts the ball in play. He's a pretty good ground ball pitcher, but he can still give up power, and Jimenez is a great candidate to do some damage off of him. This year he has a 247 average against righties with 16 home runs. And he does have a ton of power with a 230 ISO. And he has a 35% hard hit rate as well. So I like Jimenez. Just a really good hitter for power. And he doesn't hit for a high average or anything. But facing off against Juardo, who really throws his sinker a lot. That's the pitch that Jimenez hits really well. Has one of the highest ISOs on the team against that pitch, over 200. So I like Jimenez. And then I'll go back to Joc Pederson. Should be batting leadoff once again. He's only 4,200. I like the Dodgers to bounce back big time here against Waguespack. Pederson, lots of power against right-handed pitching. That's the only side of the plate that he's good at. Not good at lefties. He usually gets pitch hit for when there's a lefty reliever coming in, or if there's a lefty on the mound, he doesn't start that day. But against righties, he can definitely do a lot of damage. This season, he has a 240 average, nothing special, but all 25 of his home runs have come against righties. He has 39 at-bats against lefties only this season. Got a 277 ISO, not a huge super high strikeout rate, under 20%, which is nice to see. And he does hit the ball in the air with a 43% fly ball rate, and hits the ball hard with a 45% hard hit rate. I like Pederson leading off at this price tag. So those are 6 guys that I like for today. If you want some additional plays, looking at teams to stack, I think the Dodgers are definitely going to get back on track here. Even though they won yesterday, I mean, their offense is going to get back on track, and they're going to score a bunch of runs. I like Pederson, Bellinger, a couple of my favorite plays. I think Seager's a fine option. And Muncy's finally over 5,000, but he's still a good option if you can fit him in. On the Yankees, I like the lefties in particular, Didi Gregorius. I still would play Judge just because he's pretty cheap at just 4,000. I like Torres' price at 43, and Mike Ford as a very cheap first baseman at just 3,200. Astros should tee off here against Zimmerman. They disappointed yesterday. Maybe that was because the roof was closed. But hopefully the roof is open today, and that will definitely lead to more runs. I like Yuli. He's mashing right-handed pitching this season. If you look at his splits, crushes righties. I love him. I like Bregman and Alvarez in the outfield. On the White Sox, you can definitely stack them up. They are very, very cheap. Jimenez, one of my favorite plays, him, Abreu, and if you want to mess around with some of the value in the outfield, like Garcia, I don't mind you, but really I'm just looking at a couple options, Jimenez and Abreu at first base. On the Rangers side, don't like a ton against lefties, but Ross Detweiler gives it up to left-handed hitters too, so you can definitely do a full stack here. They'll probably not be super popular, especially guys like the lefties on the team, like Willie Calhoun, even though he's really expensive. But I like Solak at 36, my favorite play, and then Elvis Andrus at 4,300. And even Forsythe, if you need a really cheap play at first base or third base, he's not the worst play in the world. The Braves, don't love them a ton just because you're not getting a huge price discount on anybody, but a $4,000 Matt Joyce is fine. I like him a little bit, and then if you want to play Donaldson, he's really good against righties this season. Him and Freeman can be a nice 3-man stack. And then the Nationals, they are probably going to be pretty popular today, facing off against Steven Brault. They have a couple of really good hitters against lefties, like Anthony Rendon and Trey Turner. And then besides them, I would look at Asdrubal Cabrera at just 4,200. and Robles in the outfield at 4,500. I would have interest in Howie Kendrick, but he's just too expensive for me at 4,900. And then last but not least, the Rays. They are facing off against this Baltimore pitching staff. The Baltimore pitching bullpen gives up so many bombs. The Rays, not a great offense to stack. They are just, their lineup is not really interesting to stack. I like to do like one-offs with them, but Meadows is fine at 48. Him, Kiermaier, Adames as a cheap shortstop, and Ji-Man Choi as a cheap first baseman. That's kind of what I'm looking at on that team. And that's pretty much it for this slate. So there's not a ton that sticks out for, besides a couple obvious spots like the Astros and the Dodgers. There's not a ton of other teams that stick out. So I think going with some one-offs or going with a couple mini stacks from the Texas game is going to be nice. Just because both pitchers in that game are not very good, and you definitely have some power in there with guys like Jimenez and Solak and Danny Santana and some other guys. So I like them. I like the lefties from the Yankees, and I like the Astros. Even though I didn't recommend any of the Astros hitters in here, I'll still try to get as many Astros as I can. But that's it for this video. That's what I like. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and good luck today.